Lost at Night. True Horror Stories. Story number 1. The Whispering Woods. Sarah and Mark ventured into the dense woods at night, guided only by the pale moonlight. Lost and disoriented, they heard faint whispers among the trees. As they followed the eerie voices, the forest seemed to come alive with sinister secrets, until they found themselves in the heart of a ritualistic circle, surrounded by shadowy figures. Story number 2. The Abandoned Asylum. A group of friends dared to explore the decaying asylum rumored to be haunted. As they entered the pitch-black building, their flashlights flickered and died. Panic set in as unsettling laughter echoed through the corridors. Lost in the labyrinthine darkness, they soon realized that they were not alone, and something malevolent lurked within those haunted walls. Story number 3. The Haunted Hotel. Checking into a remote, rundown hotel, Mike and Emily discovered that they were the only guests. In the dead of night, they heard chilling footsteps and eerie laughter outside their room. Desperate to leave, they found all exits sealed. The hotel's sinister history revealed itself, and the night grew colder as they realized they were trapped with vengeful spirits. Story number 4. The Midnight Caller. Diane was alone in her apartment when her phone rang at the stroke of midnight. The caller ID displayed her own name. Trembling, she answered, only to hear her own voice whispering ominous warnings from the other end. The calls continued every night, each message more unsettling, until she finally saw her own ghostly reflection in her bedroom mirror. Story number 5. The Haunting in the Suburbs. The Johnson family moved into a peaceful suburban neighborhood, but every night, strange events unfolded. Their appliances turned on by themselves, and eerie apparitions roamed the halls. One night, they followed a spectral figure into the woods behind their home, only to discover a hidden graveyard and the restless spirits of those who once lived there. Story number 6. The Vanishing Road. On a road trip through a desolate desert, Lisa and Tom found themselves on an unfamiliar road at night. As they drove, they noticed strange, ghostly figures on the side of the road, hitchhiking. When they decided to help, the figures vanished, leaving them lost on an endless, dark highway with no way back. Story number 7. The Curse of the Midnight Mirror. Michelle inherited an antique mirror that was said to be cursed. One night, as she gazed into it, she saw her reflection beckoning her into a twisted, nightmarish world. She stepped through, finding herself trapped in a realm of darkness, forced to confront her deepest fears and face the malevolent force that dwelled within the mirror. Story number 8. The Ghostly Lighthouse. A group of friends decided to spend the night in a remote lighthouse by the sea. As the waves crashed against the rocks, they heard mournful cries in the wind. The lighthouse's beam began to spin wildly, revealing ghostly ships wrecked on the shore and the anguished souls of long-lost sailors seeking vengeance. Story number 9. The Night Terrors. For weeks, Nancy suffered from debilitating night terrors. Each night, she awoke to find her room transformed into a nightmarish realm filled with grotesque creatures. Desperate for answers, she stayed awake one fateful night, only to discover that the terrors were real, lurking in the shadows, waiting for her to sleep. Story number 10. The Uninvited Guest. Alex hosted a dinner party at his historic mansion, unaware of the dark history that plagued it. As the clock struck midnight, the room grew cold, and the candles flickered. An uninvited guest, a spectral figure, joined the party, leaving a trail of dread and death in its wake, revealing a sinister secret that had long been buried. Story number 11. The Haunted Cabin. A group of friends rented a remote cabin in the woods for a weekend getaway. When night fell, they heard blood-curdling screams echoing through the forest. Trapped in the cabin, they soon realized it was haunted by the vengeful spirits of those who had perished there, and they had to uncover the truth to survive the night. Story number 12. The Lost Souls Game. A group of teenagers found an old, mysterious board game at a garage sale. When they decided to play it one night, they unwittingly unleashed a malevolent spirit. The spirit challenged them to a series of deadly games, and they had to outsmart it to avoid becoming part of the cursed game forever. Story number 13. The Phantom Orchestra. In a quiet town, strange music echoed through the streets at the stroke of midnight. A group of curious townsfolk followed the haunting melody to an abandoned theater. There, they found an otherworldly orchestra of spectral musicians, playing for a ghostly audience. The musicians beckoned them to join, and they had to decide whether to become part of the spectral ensemble. Story number 14. The Shadow in the Mirror. A young woman named Lily moved into a new apartment and noticed a peculiar mirror on her bedroom wall. At night, a shadowy figure emerged from the mirror, mirroring her every move. As the figure grew stronger, Lily's reflection began to mimic sinister intentions, leading her into a nightmarish battle for control. Story number 15. The Midnight Train. A train enthusiast named Daniel boarded an old, disused locomotive that mysteriously started running at midnight. The train traveled through a dark, desolate landscape, stopping at eerie, abandoned stations. Daniel soon realized he was not alone on this journey, as the train's passengers were ghostly figures with stories of tragedy, all bound to this spectral railway. Story number 16. The Cursed Carnival. A traveling carnival arrived in a small town, setting up its rides and tents under the cover of darkness. As visitors explored the attractions, they began to notice something eerie. The carnival workers and performers never seemed to age. The carousel, in particular, held a dark secret, granting wishes at a terrible price, leaving those who made deals with it forever trapped in a nightmarish cycle. Story number 17. The Haunting in the Amusement Park. A group of friends decided to spend the night in an abandoned amusement park rumored to be haunted. As they wandered through the dilapidated rides and games, they encountered ghostly apparitions of long-deceased park-goers. The night took a terrifying turn when they found themselves trapped on a malfunctioning roller coaster, pursued by vengeful spirits. Story number 18. The Disappearing Town. On a road trip, a couple stumbled upon a remote town not marked on any map. They decided to spend the night at the quaint inn, but as darkness fell, the town's inhabitants became increasingly strange. Buildings disappeared and reappeared, and the couple found themselves caught in a surreal loop, desperately trying to escape the town that seemed to exist only at night.